If the denominator are the same, add or subtract the numerator, place the result over the common denominator. We've done that before, like if I have 1/2 plus 3/2. So you keep the 2 and you add 1 and 3 at the top of the fraction. If the denominator are different, you want to find the least common denominator and write all rational expression with this LCD. Add or subtract the numerator, place the results over the common denominator, simplify, write the answer in the lowest term. So let's take a look at examples to make more sense out of all these. This would be a simple example. If I have 7x over 9 plus y over 9. Same denominator. We keep this and we just add the number terms at the top. Nothing cancels or simplified here, so we can leave it as is. Part B, again, same denominator. We keep 3x cubed and we subtract 8 minus 14. That would be minus 6. Here we can reduce to minus 2 over x cubed. We always have to reduce at the end. Another example. Here we have expression in common. So the LCD is r squared minus t squared. So we keep that. We add the top, r plus t. And then we need to factor and simplify. So the difference of square. Again, we need to know how to factor for this section. If you have a problem with factoring, please refer to my previous lectures on factoring. Next example here, we have a same exact denominator. We have a expression again. X squared plus 3x minus 18 is LCD. And then we add 6 plus 8 at the top. And then we factor and reduce. Find the least common denominator. Factor each denominator. Find the least common denominator. The LCD is the product of all the different factors from each denominator, with each factor raised to the greatest power that calls in any denominator. Let's take a look at some examples here to make more sense out of these steps. Here it is. Find the LCD for each group of denominators. So here we want to find the LCD of 10, a to the power of 3, b to the power of 5, 15, a to the power of 2, b to the power of 6. Best is to bring all this to its prime numbers. 10 would be 2 times 5. 15 would be 3 times 5. To find the LCD, or least common denominator, you compare each groups of prime number. You pick the largest of all. So here I have 1, 2. There's no 2 down here. I'm going to include that as part of my LCD. Here you have 1, 3. So there's no 3 up here, but that's the largest one. I'm going to pick that as part of the LCD. So that's 5. You have one group of 5, one group of 5. They're equally alike. So I'm going to pick that as part of my LCD. Now let's take a look at A's. You have a to the power of 3, a to the power of 2. So you pick the highest one. That would be a to the power of 3. Here you have b to the power of 5, b to the power of 6. You pick the highest one, b to the power of 6. So that would be your LCD. The LCD for z and z plus 6 would be the product of these two. Just like what's the LCD between 2 and 3? Would be 2 times 3. So that would be the LCD. Let's find the LCD of m squared minus 16, and then m squared plus 8m plus 16. In order to find the LCD, you need to factor these. So m squared minus 16 would be a difference of square, would be m plus 4, m minus 4. When I factor m squared plus 8m plus 16, that gives me m plus 4 times m plus 4, or m plus 4 squared. Once again, you need to know how to factor for this section. If you have any problem with factoring, refer to my previous lectures on factoring. So when you compare these groups, you have 1m plus 4 here, and you have 2m plus 4 here in this group. So we pick the largest of all. So m plus 4 squared would be part of your LCD. You have one m minus 4 here, there's no m minus 4 here, so that would be the largest group. So that would be a part of the LCD. So LCD would be m plus 4 squared times m minus 4. Next example here, we need to find the LCD, so we need to factor all these three expressions. The first one, x squared minus 2x plus 1. You factor to x minus 1 times x minus 1, or x minus 1 squared. And the next one would be x minus 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 3. And the last one, we just factor the 4 out. So let's compare. You have x minus 1, you have two of them up here. You have x minus 1, only one of each. So I'm going to pick x minus 1 squared, which is the largest of all, as part of my LCD. 4 would be what should be included as part of my LCD. So as x minus 1. Well, so as x minus 3. Because x minus 3 is only one, appears in the second row. That's the largest of all. So that would be part of my LCD. So you compare this group of numbers or prime numbers, and you pick the largest of all. If you have x squared and x, you pick x squared. If you have x minus 1 square or x minus 1, you pick x minus 1 square. You pick the largest exponents there. Once we know how to find the LCD, we can add and subtract if the numbers at the bottom of the fraction are not the same. Here we have to add 6 over m with 1 over 4m. So the LCD between m and 4m is 4m. So I need to make both of these the same as 4m. So in order to do that, I need to multiply the first fraction with 4 over 4 in order to make this m equal to 4m. So if I multiply the first fraction by 4 over 4, I'm really multiplying this by 1. 4 over 4 is equal to 1. So that's why I'm keeping the same fraction I had before. So the look of this would be different. 4 times 6 would be 24 over 4m now. Notice 24 over 4m is the same as 6m. But now I can add these because LCD is 4m. Now I can add 24 plus 1. So make sure you reduce them at the end. Second example, we have y plus 4. The LCD would be y times y plus 4. So I need to multiply the first fraction by y plus 4 over y plus 4. Multiply the second fraction with y over y. So I can keep the same of these terms at the bottom of fraction, the same as LCD. So I can go ahead and distribute to, we get 2y plus 8 and subtract y from that would be 2y plus 8 minus y. Combine like terms and make sure at the end, if it's factored, you can factor them, you have to factor them and reduce them at the end. Subtraction would be similar. Here we have 2x plus 7, same denominator. You keep that and you just simply subtract what I have at the top. It would be 5x plus 7 minus x minus 14. Don't forget to place a parenthesis here so you would distribute this minus. Once you distribute the minus, then you combine like terms, and then of course you have to factor them to reduce to 3. You want to subtract here the LCD between r minus 2 and r minus 1 would be the product of that, would be r minus 2 times r minus 1. I need to multiply the first fraction by r minus 1 over r minus 1 and multiply the second fraction with r minus 2 or r minus 2 to keep the same LCD so I can combine them. So at the top I would get 2r minus 2. And don't forget this minus here should distribute. You have to distribute this first, FOIL method. R plus 3 times r minus 2, that would be r squared plus r minus 6. You distribute the distribute the minus 1 through the second parentheses. You get minus r squared minus r plus 6. You combine like term. And don't forget to see if this is factorable. If it's factorable, you factor them and reduce. In this case, it's not. So that would be your final result. add 2 over x minus 3 with 1 over 3 minus x. Remember we said if I have x minus 3 and 3 minus x, I can make this look alike by factoring a minus 1. So let's do that here. If I factor a minus 1 out of this, you notice that I said x, if I have 3 minus x, if I factor a minus 1, I would get, what times minus 1 give me the first term? Here would be minus 3. What times minus 1 give me the second term? That would be plus x. So if I factor a minus 1 out, I get minus x minus 3. If you remember, we said if a minus b is equal to minus b minus a. So here I can change the second one. Remember, we're not multiplying this by minus, we're factoring a minus out. This becomes minus x minus 3. We do this to find the LCD easier. The LCD of x minus 3 and minus x minus 3 would be simply x minus 3 and then minus right front of it. I can combine these two signs here and write it as 2 over x minus 3 minus 1 over x minus 3. Now the LCD is x minus 3. So how the LCD is x minus 3, and the top would be 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. So when you see a minus b and b minus a, we can make them look alike by using the fact that a minus b is equal to minus b minus a. That's all you have to do, just factor a minus 1 out of either x minus 3 or 3 minus x. You're not multiplying by a minus again, you're factoring a minus 1 out.